Is your new MRI looking stable, but you just feel like you're getting worse? How can you tell if you're dealing with smoldering MS? So what are some questions we can ask our neurologists that can help us find smoldering MS? Hi everybody, I'm answering a viewer email here and I'm gonna go ahead and read it out. It says, "Hi Claire, I was diagnosed 2 years ago and it has been tough. I have lots of symptoms. My head is still spinning from my diagnosis. My neurologist keeps mentioning smoldering MS. Can you please make an episode about smoldering MS? I don't get it. Pat from Phoenix, Arizona." Okay, well, first of all, my name is Cliff, not Claire, but that's okay because, you know, spell correct and all that. Thanks for the email. This is a really cool topic. Okay, first off, I'm not a doctor. I'm just an engineer, so none of this is medical advice. It's all research that I've done, but at the very least, it'll be my very fun and very unprofessional take on the topic of smoldering MS, backed with some science. But I don't look the part, so give me a second. Okay, now I feel all official. I have glasses on, and that means I'm smart, and what I say is true, I think. All right, so smoldering MS, what is the deal? And for so many people living with MS, this is like one of those mysteries, like where we hear the term, but we really don't know what it means. And it seems like maybe the definition seems to change daily because it's a relatively new term. If you've been watching my channel, you would have heard me talk about PIRA. Progression Independent of Relapse Activity, also another new term. Up until probably the last 4 to 5 years, it has always been thought that we could see our progression of our MS by measuring lesions and disability. But now there's this smoldering thing that's happening in the brain and not necessarily in the rest of the neurological system. Let me explain that. My MRI shows that my MS is stable. However, I feel like I'm getting worse. Like my cognitive issues are definitely getting much more difficult. If you watch my earlier videos versus my videos now, I really have a hard time getting words out. Tough words like they and those and people and, you know, things that you don't say a lot like the. So why do we feel like we're getting worse even though we don't show any signs of, well, clinical progression? Our scans say we're stable, but we're having a very different experience from that. We feel a slow and steady decline, but the usual evidence just isn't there. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not just all in your head, or maybe it is. Ooh, this is where things get twisted. There's a very real chance that if we're having these issues now because of smoldering MS, we're not just imagining it, it's happening. And now we might have a way to catch it in the act. So what's really going on? Well, for decades, we kind of focused on those big, gnarly MS relapse attacks. Basically, the damage left behind when we didn't fully recover. And man, I got a lot of that. But the real story, the one that answers the big question, is something new called PIRA. Progression Independent of Relapse Activity. And it's exactly what it sounds like for once in this disease. Now, this is a sneaky and steady worsening of the disease operating in the background. We can't prove it. Well, maybe we can, but up until now, we really couldn't. And we were just getting worse and worse and worse, or we are getting worse and worse and worse. And the process that's driving that worsening, well, that's what we're here to talk about. Enter our friend, smoldering MS. And when I hear the word smoldering, it's not something I want related to my neurological system, thank you very much, because I think of things like this. And that, and this,
I'm
and that.
on fire!
Get ready, get your little notepad out because I know you're not going to remember this. If you're like me, you have to write it down 55 times and then still read it like I'm doing right now because I can't remember this whole script because I wrote it down. I'm like, I really want to make sure I touch on this stuff. And I rehearsed it and bam, it's gone. All right, now let's break down the 3 things doctors can look for to see smoldering MS. And the first one I'm going to talk about is a paramagnetic rim lesion, or the PRL. All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for PRL. This PRL thing, it's the smoking gun. It's the dark ring you see around an inactive lesion that's loaded with iron. And the second one is going to be the SEL, which is the slowly expanding lesions. And because the definition of the scans is getting so good, we can now see very minute changes in these lesions. So we can track if they're getting larger or smaller. And we could see these old lesions, instead of staying the same size, start expanding. And if they're old lesions and they're expanding, well, it's because the rim is expanding because of, well, paramagnetic rim lesions. And finally, there's brain volume loss, or BVL, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's the overall shrinkage of the brain due to cell death. Finding just one of these PRLs gives us a 90% specificity for diagnosing multiple sclerosis. That's crazy over like the last 5 years. That's a huge step forward. And what this means, it's a highly reliable sign that what the doctor is actually seeing is multiple sclerosis in action. And what's cool about this is it can rule out a lot of other conditions that can look like MS, like spots from migraines. This isn't just some experimental research anymore. This is the real deal. It's actually included in the 2024 revision to the McDonald criteria, which I covered in another video. In short, that's a huge step forward for early diagnosis or any diagnosis for multiple sclerosis, because the sooner the better. All right, now the big question is, what do we do with it? What do we do with this information? How do we fight it? How do we take care of this smoldering ember in our brain that's destroying our nerve cells and shrinking our heads? Okay, not really shrinking our heads, but technically and literally shrinking our brains. And looking at the path forward, it's going to take a combination of new treatments and patient advocacy. And if you watched my last video about us going to Capitol Hill and advocating for new research funding, these are the kind of things that come out of that. But the current challenge is our current DMTs, disease-modifying therapies, are really great at fighting forest fires, but not the ones in our heads. They're designed to fight the immune cells that are outside of the brain and have not crossed that blood-brain barrier yet. But they're not designed to put out those smoldering embers within the brain, and that's the big issue at hand. So what kind of things are we currently researching that may help with this? You may have heard of the BTK inhibitors, right? That's been a big topic for like the last 5 years. These are little tiny molecules that are specifically designed to get through that blood-brain barrier, that wall, to get on the other side and do what needs to be done. And once they're on the other side, they're going to help calm down those crazy angry B cells, and they're also going to go and find that microglia and calm it down. Like basically those partiers need to stop partying so late. And the BTK inhibitors, while there's been some ups and downs in the research, they are making really good progress. All right, so we've set up what the problem is, we've set up what we think some of the solutions are, but what about you? What about you? I know a lot of you have talked about smoldering MS in the comment sections below. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing and hitting that notification bell. I just have to say that because the channel's doing great and we are making a difference. How can you tell if you're dealing with smoldering MS? And it really comes down to listening to our bodies. And guys, we are terrible at that. However, women, you are very good at this. So ask yourself, is your new MRI looking stable, but you just feel like you're getting worse? Do simple tasks just drain you a lot more than they used to? I will say yes to that one over here. Like, oh my gosh, I really have to manage my energy now. And are you noticing subtle but persistent new things, like maybe slightly more foot drop or trouble finding the right word? That would be me if you watch my videos. Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. Or your balance just feels a little bit off. Now for me, I started doing a lot of indoor cycling, but not enough to like kill myself, just to keep my core strength up, because I really do feel like my balance is suffering a lot lately. And according to my research, and again, I'm not a doctor, but your doctor is, so talk to him. These are all signs of potential smoldering MS. Talk to your neurologist about this. Plus, he'll be really impressed, or she'll be really impressed that you're talking about PRL and you're talking about catching these things, the microglia and all that. Because honestly, knowing this stuff empowers us to be our best advocate, right? We have to be our own advocate, but we have to advocate for others as well. And the more knowledge we have, the more power we have in the fight. So what are some questions we can ask our neurologists that can help us find smoldering MS? Well, let's see, I wrote them down here. Hey, can we look at my scan with the right sequences to check for those rim lesions? And then there's the classic, can we do a side-by-side comparison between this scan now and the ones from a few years ago? Are we seeing a difference in lesion growth of old lesions? It's also worth asking if brain volume has changed over time. These types of questions can really open up a much deeper conversation about your overall health, which is super important with the progression of this disease. I know I'm going to be talking to my neurologist about this because I don't know if we're actively tracking this right now, which would surprise me. Maybe he's just not telling me or I didn't ask or I forgot, which is likely. But I'm going to do this, and I'm also going to do the Octave biomicroblood test next time I go in. And I think what's important when I meet with my neurologist next time is it's going to shift the focus of I don't have any new lesions to what kind of disability I have, to really more a conversation of like, what's the quality of my existing lesions. Like, what is going on here? And what is my brain telling us about hidden progression? Yet again, we find ourselves at another turning point with multiple sclerosis. And this is good news, right? Where you have to adapt and be dynamic and change our perspectives and our expectations. But now we're not just looking at flares and disability progression, but we're looking at like embers. These embers in our brains, are they burning and we just don't know it, but now we know what to look for. So the technology is really helping us get ahead of our disease, and that is super cool. So now it's your turn. Have you heard of smoldering MS? Have you been diagnosed with smoldering MS? And if so, what are you and your neurologist doing about it? Is there any specific questions people can ask if they suspect it's happening, but they don't know? Thank you very much again for watching. You all rock. I'm Cliff. This is Life with MS, and I'll catch you on the next one.